The Otter African Trail Run is presented by Easy Equities in association with Sand Parks.
I've run on all 7 continents, like all around the world, and there's nothing that can compete with the Otter.
Otter, it's very unique. I'd say I haven't run any race that resembles Otter.
Since the beginning of trail running in South Africa, it's kind of been the pinnacle marathon distance racing event, and that stayed.
Yeah, I mean, there's many stories and like mystery stories, tales almost out there about Otter, like how technical it is and how many extra, let's say, obstacles like river crossings and all these kind of things are like hidden on that beautiful course.
The Otter, I mean, this trail stretches across 40 kilometers of pristine, untouched coastline. So this is basically what the coast was like, you know, for the last 500 years ago and before. This is what it looked like.
Just the splendid beauty of the trail is something that doesn't compare to anything else.
Well, I think it's actually unique in many ways, because I think the way it takes place as well, you know, in Tsitsikamma National Park, I think it just has a whole lot of other attributes that makes the park itself special. And I think whatever makes the park special also makes this event actually really special.
It's one of those races that I'll keep coming back to do long past my competitive days of racing, just being able to run along the coastline, combining trails and the ocean.
Getting on a trail in a race where there are like no spectators basically for the entire 4 or 5 hours that you're racing is really special and unique, and I think for someone who likes to be in like very peaceful environments, I really enjoy that. You feel like it's very meditative.
The prestige, the level of competition every year, and then the relativity for everyone who understands that this is a 4-day hiking trail. So, you know, most people understand what it means to run the route in X time. Yeah, it's the great trail, I guess.
The Tsitsikamma in the Eastern Cape coast of South Africa welcomed trail runners for the 15th consecutive year to one of the most spectacular trail running events on the calendar. The Otter African Trail Run, presented by Easy Equities, a multi-dimensional destination with dramatic coastal scenery, reefs, rivers, lush forest and delicate fynbos. This region forms the top section of the magnificent Garden Route National Park and is without a doubt a trail runner's paradise. The prologue. A short, sharp 4-kilometer time trial with an elevation of 230 meters. For first-time participants, this is an opportunity to get a feel for the trails and a taster for what they could be in for the following day. Registration was buzzing with lots to do, from race t-shirt collection, race number and goodie bag collection, putting on a timing chip and going through compulsory gear check and compulsory shoe cleaning, a measure to ensure the Tsitsikamma route remains untouched.
So I think we've come on as a technical sponsor. Obviously, that's an area that we specialize in, is making sure we have the best apparel, footwear and accessories for the athletes out on the trails. So I think the first thing we've done is obviously come forward and made sure that we supply the athletes with the very best race t-shirts. We've obviously got an expo stand here as well to offer all types of trail running accessories, whether it's hydration packs, seam-sealed waterproof jackets, specific trail running shorts and everything in between. So really our intention is to make sure that you've got the most incredibly naturally beautiful part of the world that these athletes are going to be able to enjoy, make sure that they've got the right attire to be as comfortable as possible as they go forward and do that.
So on the new prologue compared to the older ones, it seems a bit longer. It's quite a bit of a beach stretch and more elevation. I think it's about 200 or just over 200 meters. So it's going to be a bit more work, you know. So, you know, if you, as Mark says, don't burn all your matches on day one. So one has to take it a little bit easy, you know, that you don't have sore, stiff legs tomorrow.
Taking advice from race director and co-founder Mark Collins is worth heeding if you plan to complete the 42-kilometer race the following day. But making the cut for the first start batch, the Abangeni, means qualifying in the top 24 for the men and the top 16 for the women. There was no holding back for the top contenders, with some heading back out onto the prologue course to improve their initial time. The 24th male prologue finisher completed the 4-kilometer time trial in an extraordinary time of 23 minutes 23 seconds, while the 16th female finisher just over 5 minutes slower in another staggering time of 28 minutes 27 seconds. For participants who don't run the pre-event time trial means starting their race in the last race day batch.
Stunning views from the top. The beginning is a little bit of a kick and makes you really nervous for tomorrow, knowing that that's just an easy little leg loosener. Super excited. The river crossings weren't too cold, so hopefully tomorrow it's going to be a really exciting day. I'm really privileged to run and can't wait.
It was nice, but first part of it, you see, the climb, it's an ending, but I was eyeing for the towers. As soon as I got the towers, I was like, okay, brain in the back pocket, heart in the back pocket, then you smash the downs. But so far so good, I really loved it. It's a good test, especially for tomorrow. And I think Mark made sure that we work hard a day before the main one, so that the 100K is safe, eh?
Compliments all round for the new prologue route from novice and elite trail runners. Finally, the day of the Otter African Trail Run presented by Easy Equities arrives, and Mother Nature has a sense of humour as runners wake up to a cold and wet morning. They say there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing, which is why packing compulsory gear is standard procedure, allowing for peace of mind for the full marathon ahead. Experienced trail runner Ryan Sands not too concerned about the conditions.
Yeah, good morning. I can't say I've ever run the Otter in the rain, but I guess really looking forward to it. It's going to be a completely different experience. It's raining, but it's not raining too hard yet. So I think everyone's super excited, and I think as soon as we get going, everyone's going to forget about the rain.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too cold, really. The rain, I mean, we can't change the weather, so let's not worry about it too much. It's a bit sad not to have these awesome views that we were all hoping for. But that's what it is. It's another experience. Great.
It's definitely very different to previous Otters. Don't get the good views like we normally do at Storms River. But I think it'll be fun. I'm curious to see what the trails are like in these conditions. I think probably muddy, but it'll probably be nice to keep us cool. So there's probably pros and cons, which will be interesting.
Always nervous, race nerves. I think it's a good thing. You can channel the energy and try and go a bit harder. And curious because it's the first time in these conditions. Steep downhills, so it could be slippery. Maybe it'll change in original race plan. So,
what was the original race plan?
Take it a bit harder than previous years. So that's the goal for this year, but just have to take it as it comes now.
The 15th edition of the Otter African Trail Run, presented by Easy Equities, starts at Storms River Rest Camp and finishes in Nature's Valley. A trail marathon like no other. Its natural uniqueness spoils the senses with both a visual and an audio-sensory overload. Irrespective of the level of trail runner, this is a seriously tough challenge, which covers rough and rocky terrain, and this year's runners face extremely muddy racing conditions. Seasoned trail runners Johan van Heerden and Kane Riley give insights on the difference between the Otter and the Reto.
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference is the Otter compared to the Reto is the Otter, the climbs are steeper and the downhills are more gentle. For some runners they prefer that, some do not. So I think with this one you start with the more technical section. So I think if you can get through those technical sections and still have legs towards the end, you can run, you can really have a strong run. But if you overcook it a little bit in the beginning, it does become a hard, long day.
Steeper uphills and gentler downhills might mean very little to the Otter runner when conditions are compounded with coastal wind and slippery slopes.
The big concern is, you as an event organizer, do you have the capacity to deliver the event safely to your participants? That's the big factor. Running in the rain, as far as trail running takes part in the rain, it's some of your best runs are in the rain. In fact, probably your best runs are in the rain. Those are the conditions people come for. So, the actual question is can we get our vehicles in? Can we communicate? Can we reach the participants if we need to? Can they communicate with us? Those are the sort of things we look at.
While safety and communication is the stress for race director Mark Collins, staying in the lead ahead of Robbie Simpson and Kane Riley is Robbie Rorich's main concern when approaching Scott Hutt. Climbs exceeding 100 meters is where runners either gain or lose lead time from their competitors. Stalwart Bianca Tarberton is the first female to approach Scott Hutt, carefully climbing and passing people while ascending and gliding on the descent with no worries in the world. Keeping a steady pace, Leanne Berger finds herself in second place.
With the mud, I suppose you just got to be a little bit more careful with where you step and make sure not to roll an ankle because there are a lot of roots and it gets wet and slippery already, I think, without rain. But yeah, that's basically the approach. Just try and keep it super consistent. I think that's a big thing in Otter. No surging, just try and run steady.
Otter, it's super technical one, and it's unending hills, but they continuously flat section. Yeah, they say the last 8K is flat, but it's not. When after you've ran up and down and crossing multiple river crossing, and your body cools on and off the whole time. And with this weekend's weather, it's gonna be worse because most of the rivers will be waist high.
River crossings bring relief for some and anxiety for others. For Rorich, Simpson and Riley, it was a welcome refreshment while on the go. The mist lifts from the majestic mountaintop, allowing for clear and comfortable visibility for the top contenders, who have been running their own race and taking in the sensational scenery. This exclusive trail, Sandparks, opens once a year for the Otter African Trail Run presented by Easy Equities. Meanwhile, Tarberton still leading her field as she conquers river crossing number 2 of 4. Runners are rewarded with much needed nutrition to replenish the reserves for the second half of the 42-kilometer race ahead. Even Sands stops to stock up on his supplies. The Otter African Trail Run presented by Easy Equities is hosted over 4 days. A prologue and challenge event on the Wednesday and Thursday, and the prologue and race event on the Friday and Saturday. The challenge is for the trail runner who needs an extra 2 hours to complete the marathon distance. The cutoff time for the challenge is a fearsome 11 hours, whereas the cutoff for the race is an extreme time of 9 hours.
For me, it's about passion and the community. So Easy Equities is big about supporting the community, doing things for sustainability, for the future, healthy bodies, healthy minds, healthy financial habits. But if you boil it down, it's about the people. Many of the people that invest in Easy Equities are runners and participants and organisers of the Otter, and it boils down just for people for us and supporting them.
There's minimal difference between the erosion and environmental impact of a trail runner than a hiker. In fact, because trail runners move considerably faster through an area, the impact per person per unit of time on a particular area is possibly less than that of a hiker.
Tsitsikamma currently is the best performing national park in South Africa. I mean, last year we won the Kudu Award for the best performing national park in South Africa. And I think part of that is based on some of the critical stakeholders that we have, and that includes the African Otter Trail Run guys. And I think they're fantastic. They position the park really well globally, you know. And I think that's why, as a park, we've actually been positioned as one of the best performing national parks in South Africa. The relationship that we have is really critical, not only to the park, but to once again reconnecting the people back into the system, you know, through beautiful sport, you know, like trail riding.
Come rain or sunshine, undoubtedly Otter African Trail Run, presented by Easy Equities in association with Sand Parks, is the most beautiful trail run in the world. The infamous Blowkrans River crossing. Persistent rain over several days raises the water levels, but strategically placed lifeguards and safety rope reassures runners that crossing currents and persevering to the finish line is the only option. The Otter attracts a modest international field. Scotland's Robbie Simpson amongst those further afield Fynbos fans.
So I'm a runner from Scotland. I started out running when I was about 13, doing mostly hilly races at home, hilly stuff, cross country, a bit of track. And then I got into more mountain running when I was about 16, 17, and then eventually went into road marathons for 2 or 3 years. I did the Commonwealth Games in Australia in 2018, and then went back onto the trails and stuff after that. And in the last few years, been doing slightly longer races, 50Ks and things like that, occasionally 80Ks, Comrades for example. So yeah, I've done a bit of everything.
Another international debutant is current German skyrunning champion Marcel Huscher, who on his third trip to South Africa finally took on the race that is said to be the yardstick of trail running.
So I'm from Germany. I've been trail running quite some time now. So I did my first 100K in 2010. So I'm part of the Adidas Terex Pro trail running team. So we have Bianca and Tony and some other runners who I'm very well befriended with. And they all said, like, Otter Trail, like if you have to do one, or if you can do one race in South Africa, it should be Otter. This year is my 3rd year in a row to come to Cape Town or to South Africa, and now I'm very happy to finally get my first Otter run done.
Back to the women's race, Bianca Talbotson stuck to her plan to keep it super consistent and ahead of her field. A true trail runner, soaking it all in.
Getting on a trail and a race where there are like no spectators basically for the entire like 4 or 5 hours that you're racing is really special and unique, and I think for someone who likes to be in like very peaceful environments, I really enjoy that. You feel like it's very meditative compared to, I mean, for example, in Europe it's like crazy with spectators everywhere, a lot of noise, a lot of chaos. So for me, coming to Otter and just like running and finding flow for 4 or 5 hours is very special.
Unlike other races, getting the result you want is less dependent on race tactics, as experienced trail runner Kane Riley explains.
Often I feel like the route decides at Otter. So, I mean, let's go to the exact more extreme, like polar opposite is like on the track race. It's often like man against man, tactical pacing. Like very often in Otter, I think it's like, you know, everyone's trying to run fast, and the route will decide who can keep running at that pace till the end and decide who doesn't. So I often feel like at the sharp end when people are running fast, yeah, it's more the route than like tactical against each other. So, you know, if guys go out fast, it's like the route will decide what it wants.
Racing conditions favoured the Scotsman on South African shores. For Johan van Heerden, this race took more out of him and takes time to recover from nausea. Meanwhile, Robbie Simpson takes the lead in the final stretch approaching Nature's Valley. Not only will Simpson return to his country with tales about his bucket list adventure of 4 river crossings, 7,000 steps and 2,600 meters of elevation, but also the 2023 Otter African Trail Run presented by Easy Equities race champion title. Robbie Simpson completed the Grail of Trail in an impressive time of 4 hours, 12 minutes and 36 seconds.
That was pretty epic, yeah. It was a real tough race right from the start. I lost a lot of time on the rocky section to begin with and just tried to chill there and get into a rhythm, save some energy. And then from there on, just gradually worked my way through the field and then took the lead about halfway. And then it was really tough after that. I thought someone said it was meant to be really runnable in the second half. So I was thinking, oh, this will be great. But it was so muddy, really, really muddy. So it made it quite tough going. But I just had enough strength to kind of hang on and take the win, which I'm really happy about.
Riley was 1 minute 58 seconds back to claim his 6th second place finish in the Otter African Trail Run presented by Easy Equities.
Always struggle between like 20 and 30 Ks in this race, so I had a bit of a dark patch, but not like too bad. And then the last 10 Ks, probably for the first time I had legs, which was just pretty awesome. So yeah, I think like the underfoot conditions are really hard, but the temperatures were nice and cool, which makes a big difference.
3-time champion Johan van Heerden's 6 minute 14 second deficit meant he finished in 3rd, not before amusing the crowd with an intentional jump into the water.
Yes, I knew beforehand it was going to be challenging with the wet weather and slippery rocks. And it was very slippery, especially the first part to Nkubuat. But I think we kept it controlled and just being careful. And Rory just pulled away on those rocks. He's really phenomenal. And I think we worked together. I wasn't feeling that strong on the uphills, but I just kept it steady and knew that patience is going to pay off. Unfortunately, I paid a little bit for the effort towards the end, but so grateful to be finishing another Otter.
Coming from regular racing, like river crossings like we have at Blue Grants River, that's just something else. Like you don't find that like many times at many other races in the world, I think.
In the men's open race, a difference of 32 minutes separated the winner and the 10th place finisher. Bianca Tarberton ran her own race and was simply sensational. Having led from Storm's River Valley starting point, Tarberton finished with almost 7 minutes of her personal course record, finishing 1st in the female open category and 17th in the overall category.
It was a good day. The conditions were really tough though. I think I underestimated them. So it was a bit slower, but I felt really strong and it's always really beautiful. The rain was actually really nice. I feel like it helped keep you cool. So all in all, a good day. I'm stoked. I thought maybe I had a record in me, but it wasn't the day for that. But yeah, it was cool. It was good. Strong.
27 minutes later, Leanne Berger crosses the finish line to take 2nd place, followed by a thrilled 3rd place finisher and first veteran woman, Ruth Cozen. 29 minutes separated the first female from the 3rd female finisher. Congratulations to all who took part in the 15th edition of the Otter African Trail Run, either in the challenge event or the penultimate race. Thank you to the many sponsors who enhance the Grail of Trail experience. This bucket list event would not be possible without the incredible support and cooperation of the hardworking South African National Parks team, who have allowed the event access into the Tsitsikamma Marine Protected Area. A final word from FACE's CEO, Clark Gardner.
We're at the end of a marvelous Otter African Trail Run, where I believe our aim was always to improve the prestige of the event, which increases and improves the admiration for this event as a trail run. And I think we achieved it. We're here at the end of Saturday, and despite the weather, or maybe even because of the weather, this event is a huge success this week. I think everyone from our team put in extra effort. You could see the smiles from the runners despite spending 8, 9, 10, 11 hours on the field in this beautiful Tsitsikamma, where we have the privilege of being able to host the Otter African Trail Run thanks to Sand Park. I think particularly this year, our sponsors enabled just an improved prestige. We've got Easy Equities who doubled again the elite prize money, which attracted some internationals, people like Robbie Simpson from Scotland, Macy Pacey from Germany, and Bianca, our own local, really top-notch runner, Ryan Sands. So I just think the prestige was just taken to another level. At the same time, a new sponsor, Adidas Terex, they came on board. You saw all the staff looking just at a different level in their kit and their shoes, our sweeps all dressed up in Terex kit. And I just think it left a huge impression on our market, and our market being our partners and stakeholders and every single participant out there. It was the Otter at another level, and we're extremely proud to finish this Saturday at that level.
The Otter African Trail Run was presented by Easy Equities in association with Sand Parks.